Hello, welcome to GeoAI tutorial number 3. In this video, I'm going to show you how to check the metadata of both raster and vector data before we use them for deep learning. So in the last two videos, I've shown you how to install the GeoAI package and also how to download some high-resolution area imagery and also the building footprint data from our virtual maps. So once you have access to this data, you might want to check in like what's the data information, what's the spectral bands, and also the spatial resolution, spatial extent, something like that. And of course, you can download the data. You can open that in desktop.js, but if you're trying to do that at larger scale, so especially if you're running algorithms on remote server, it's not really easy to have desktop software on remote desktop on remote server. Sometimes you need to use a Jupyter notebook environment. So in this notebook, I'm going to show you how to do that everything just using a Jupyter notebook. So if you go to the GeoAI website here, the link is in the video description below. I just added a new notebook example. We go to the website examples, view metadata. So this is the second one. Once you are here, you can just right click, open a new tab. So you can run this one using Google Colab. If you have installed GeoAI package on a local computer, then you can run it on a local computer. Oops. So looks like there's a typo. I need to fix it. Never mind. I fixed it. So when you're watching the video, when you click link, it should work now. And I've already have this one on my local computer. So I'm going to just open this one up. I have cloned the repository. So double click, view metadata. So this is a notebook example. I'm going to show you step by step. So I just add a lot of handy functions for you to check in the metadata. Even you can do some simple raster imagery clipping to a certain area or a bounding box. All right, so first we need to import the library. All you need is just import GeoAI. That's it. Very simple and easy. Next, we're going to utilize some sample data set. So I put some sample data set on Hugging Face. If interested, you can go to my Hugging Face page. So on the home page, at the bottom, there's a data set. Here, I'll put all kind of sample data set for doing deep learning and also some models. Right now, I put some net imagery sample data set here and also some building data set. If you're interested in some deep learning models, I will cover that in a future video, how to use, for example, some pre-trained models to do building detection for different regions around the globe. We'll cover that in another video. And so here, once we, let me go back to the VS Code here, and let me zoom in a little bit. So this would be the URL. So one is the net training data set. The other one is the building footprint data set. So only these two. Just click run. You will be able to assign available. And so because these are on the internet, the first step is to download the data to our computer. So you can use the download file function. So this is a function that you can download data from the internet. And so first we're going to download just the raster imagery. It will show you the progress bar. So this file I already clicked, make it much smaller so it runs faster, and it's going to download to our computer. So on the left side here, now you should be able to see this one. I'm using VS Code, so you cannot directly open the file. The second one is the vector building footprint data set. So similarly, you just run this one. This is a much smaller file, so it's going to be just within a second, you have the file. This one you can just click, you should be able to open the file. Once you have the raster and also the vector dataset, assume these are the two datasets we want to use for doing deep learning. So first we might want to check like what's the spatial extent, spatial resolution, that kind of information. So we can just call the GeoAI.print raster info, then just passing the raster path. That's it. So just one click, then you should have access to all the metadata information. It's going to show you this is a GeoTIFF file, how many rows and how many columns, how many basically the size of the imagery, how many spectral bands. So this is the net imagery from the USDA National Agricultural Imagery Program. So it's a 4-band RGB and also the near infrared. So it has total 4 bands. Unsigned integer 8 basically means the pixel values range from 0 to 255. And the coordinates reference system is EPSG 26911. So this is just a UTM projection. Also the georeference bound. So this is the bounding box, basically the upper left corner and also the lower right corner. no data value, this is just 0. And also you're going to print out all the bank statistics. So depends on how many banks you have. In this case, we have 4 banks. If you have too much information, VS Code doesn't print them all out, but you can click the text editor, then it will take you to all the information. So from band 1 all the way to band 4. Band 4 is a near infrared band. You can expect that if the area has vegetation coverage, then the near infrared band is going to be a higher value. So this is why this value, the mean value, is highest among all the pixels, all the bands, because the vegetation is higher in this particular spectral band. So you can have the minimum, the maximum, also the mean. Excuse me. The mean values are useful because later when we do deep learning, we might need to apply a change form. So if you want to do a change form, sometimes you'll be used to normalize the data. So if you need to normalize the data, you can provide a mean and standard deviation to normalize the value between 0 and 1. But not all the bands are going to have the same mean and standard deviation. So if you want to do it by different band, this information will be useful. So you can get a mean and also the standard deviation for each band. Then you can apply that to do transformation. Lastly, it will also show you basically just a preview, a thumbnail of the imagery. You can see how many rows, how many columns, right? So this is roughly 2500, so 2503. So how many columns? This one just shows you the X, okay, how many X and how many Y. So 2503 X, and also 26 rows. So this is basically the size of the imagery. And let's say, so just one single function, you don't need a desktop.js. You can just do this, just call this print raster info. Also, you can specify the preview. Whether if you don't need a preview, then you can turn this one to false. You can also specify the file size, the figure size. So 10 plus 8. If you want it to be larger, you can change the size. So you can go back here and then just type fig size equal to maybe, if you want it to be wider, then I can change it maybe to 15 and then maybe 10, something like that, or 18, probably is too much. Anyway, so if you need to see more detail, certainly you can do that. So this is going to help you visualize the imagery so you can see what it looks like. So this is just a new residential area in Washington. So you can see some of the new buildings, some are still under construction, it's not finished yet. On the right here, this is more like older neighborhood, but overall this is, you can see a lot of buildings in this area. Okay, so this is for the raster info. The next one will be vector data. Oh, by the way, this one only shows you print all the information out, but if you need to get information, it's a dictionary so that you can get information later, you can pass in to do change form in deep learning. Then you can just call the GeoAI. Let me add a new code block here, GeoAI.get raster info. You can also get the raster info GDAO, but if the first one using raster IO, so it's very much the same. Then just passing the get raster info and then just passing the file path. So this one is not going to give you the preview, but they're going to return the result as a dictionary. So once you have the dictionary, then you can, for example, if you need to get the bank statistics, you can just come here, bank statistics, right? And you should be able to get all the values. You can grab the value, passing to the program for further data processing. So if this is what you want, you use the get raster info. If you just want to see it, you use the print raster info function. Next, let's take a look at the vector data. So we also have the building footprint data that we downloaded. You can just call the print vector info function. You will be able to see, for example, the driver GeoJSON format, how many features, basically how many rows in the vector data set. It's a polygon data set and the coordinate information. So this is EPSG 4326. So this is just a WGST4 latitude, longitude. It's different from the imagery that we have earlier. And right now the two data sets have different coordinate system. Later, when we're trying to prepare the data for doing deep learning, we need to do some projection. We project them to have the same coordinates information. I've covered that in another video. Also, we're going to show you the bounding boxes. So this will be the upper left corner, lower right corner, and how many attributes. I'll show you the name of the attributes. Also, for all the attributes that are numerical attribute, also it's going to show you the statistics. For example, the height. It's going to show you the minimum height of buildings, maximum height of buildings, and also the mean, roughly 4.9, almost 5 meters. So basically, most of the buildings are basically single family buildings, 5 meter. Standard deviation. Also, not all the buildings have height information. Lastly, we show you the preview. So this just shows you kind of about the buildings covering similar area as this one, and the color represent basically just the unique, the different row numbers. It's not, doesn't mean the height information, but at least you can see what it looks like. Again, you can customize the figure size if you want it to be bigger. So this one, also the preview, the same as the raster data set. So I can just click size equal to 1810, then it will be much larger, so you can see more clearly all the building footprints for the area. Also, you can analyze the vector attributes if this particular column that you want to analyze. So in this case, if you're interested in high information, you can just call the analyze vector attributes, then just provide the file path to the vector data and which column you want to analyze, and that's it. It will show you the histogram. So these are all the buildings in this area. You want to show you, for example, earlier we already know the minimum height is roughly 2 meters. The maximum, what's the maximum again here? 6.37 meters, and also the average. So you can roughly see this is kind of like normal distribution, although there are some very low buildings. That might be because some of the buildings are still under construction, or it's like very low, small objects, not really buildings. But at least you can see on average, most of the buildings height is around 5 meters, right? And also it returns the result here as a dictionary. So sometimes if you need to get the information programmatically, this can be useful, is to return the result. So you can either print out the information, or you can get information and then pass into a program to do for the data processing. So you can get the median. The median height is 5.2 meters in this area, and also the mean roughly 5 meters. How many counts? 325 buildings with high information, and more than half of those 397 actually do not have high information. Also, you can analyze, for example, visualize vector attributes by height. And so this one will be able to showing you, it's different from the preview we saw earlier. That one just shows you the polygon. The color doesn't really mean anything. It's just like the unique ID, basically the index. But this one, the color represent the height. So the yellow, the color, that means the taller the building. The blue color represents lowest buildings. So if you can see here, this the blue one, that means the buildings are not that high. And the yellow color here, these are large, like complex. So these are larger buildings. And it's just one line of code that allows you to at least give a preview. Like I said, you can download the data and then you visualize in desktop.js, but that's not the point. We want to run everything using the cloud environment in a Jupyter notebook, so we don't need to rely on desktop. So this is how you can get the metadata information easily before you try to process the data for doing AI and also deep learning. The last example is doing clipping. Sometimes if the imagery that you downloaded from the internet is too big, and the vector data that you have, you want to use as label is much smaller, and you may not need all the data. So in this case, you might need to do the clipping. So GeoAI also has this function, clip raster by bounding box, and you can pass in the raster file path. This will be the output, and the bounding box, you can specify row and column. So in this case, the bounding box, it will be upper left corner 0, 0, and then basically we're trying to clip the imagery as 100 rows and 100 columns from the upper left corner. You can also specify which bands you want to use. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a USDA net imagery, has 4 spectral bands, RGB and also near infrared. And for your machine learning, sometimes if your program cannot handle 4 bands, you can only handle 3 bands, then you might want to just select, for example, 1 to 3 RGB. Or if you can handle near infrared, if your model has been trained on near infrared, you might want to use, for example, near infrared, red and green. So in this case, it's 412. So the index starts from 1, not from 0. So 412, that means we're going to have near infrared, red band and green band. Also, the B-box type is pixel. That means we want it to be just row and column number. And let me just show you the result very quick. Now we have the imagery clip to this area. Lastly, just call the function geoai.vig image. passing the 5 pass, that's it. Now we can see the thumbnail of this only 1000 by 1000. So it's basically the upper left corner of the imagery. If you go back to the one that we have above, you can take a look at this. So it's roughly this corner here, 1000 by 1000. So because this one is the axis is almost 2500, so it'd be roughly this portion on the upper left corner. But because we use the near infrared band, so right now we are getting a red color, but it's much smaller. Again, you can change the size if you want to, but this just shows you how you can clip imagery easy. And you don't necessarily have to use the box pixel. You can also use geo. That means it's going to be coordinate information. So but you need to specify the box CRS. So this one you need to provide whether is for example box equal to EPSG 4326. That means just the latitude and longitude. Then you can, if you already know the coordinates, the bounding box, you can provide in here the latitude, the longitude, the latitude, the longitude. So basically the upper left corner and also the lower corner, if this is something that you want to click. But either way, if you just want the row and column, then you'll be just pixel. So the pixel type, and then like this. And so I can change it. For example, if I just want maybe 500 and then 500, so I can change to a smaller one. Now it should get a much smaller one. And similarly, I can change it for me to 123 if you only want the RGB. So the band order is RGB, then near infrared. So you need to have 123. Run this one, visualize, it should be just RGB color. But if you're trying to classify vegetation, you always want to include the near infrared. That's why you use 412. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you find it useful. Now you should have all these handy functions allow you to checking the metadata information, and then visualize, maybe get a preview of the raster data and also vector data, and you can do the clipping of the raster imagery if needed. And I'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk about how to create image chips so that you can create training sample data before you can use it to train the deep learning models. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.